So you're tempted to break up with a friend, or you're already in that mode and it's already happening and it's crumbling around you. And you're left saying, like, I don't even know if I want to be friends with this person anymore. This is the 5th and final video in a series on friendship breakups and kind of how to repair our relationships, what to do when they're not talking to us, how we can show up and have some of the tough conversations, whether the relationship is worth saving. All of those episodes are up on this YouTube video. And this is the final one in the series where I'm talking about the other option besides breaking up. Yes, there are other options. It is not all or nothing. So if we were to use my friendimacy triangle as just a visual image of friendship, and it's based on every relationship that's kind of brand new or developing is at the bottom of the triangle on hopefully a foundation of positivity. And as we increase our consistency and our vulnerability with some people, they move up the triangle. At the very top of the triangle are the people that we have the highest level of consistency, history, interactions, a structure, pattern for our relationship. This is where we've built trust. This is where we've made memories. This is basically all the time we spent together. And as we've increased our vulnerability, which is being honest, sharing ourselves, asking for what we need, which includes going through some fights and disappointments, sharing when we get hurt. Those are all acts of vulnerability. So the higher we go up those two, the top is our closest friends. Friendimacy, our friendship intimacy. So where was your friendship before this grievance happened? You don't place somebody on the triangle based on how much you like them or how much you had in common with them or just how much fun you had together or just how much you wish you were close, right? You place them on this triangle based on how much the two of you actually, for reals, practice these 3 requirements. So how honest have you two been with each other? Have you gone through some stuff together? Because if you haven't actually had tough conversations, then you can't place yourself all the way at the top of that triangle because you have not been that vulnerable yet. If you haven't really known each other that long, and if you aren't really both getting together regularly or have practiced building a history together, then maybe your consistency really isn't that high. So even if you think you were best friends with them, it might be that you were only halfway up the triangle. I don't know. You look at the triangle and say, how much did we honestly do these 3 things together? And so the more you've practiced this, the longer you've practiced this, the more different ways you've practiced these 3 things, the deeper and more meaningful and closer your friendship is, the stronger your bond. So wherever your relationship was on this triangle, look at it for a moment and say, so if I'm breaking up with somebody, or I'm saying this friendship, I don't feel like I can trust them, it's not bringing me as much joy, I just don't, there's too much drama, whatever the internal response for you is there, the other option besides just taking them off the triangle, because that's what a breakup does. A breakup says, I don't ever want to see you, no consistency. I don't want to tell you anything, no vulnerability. And I don't even want to, I won't even be kind to you if we're in the same room. It's basically taking away all 3 of the things that bond us to people. And very, very, very rarely do we actually need to do that. Most friendships don't need to be taken off the triangle just because they hurt us and disappoint us. In most cases, it's a matter of looking hopefully at which of those 3 things got wounded. Are we not seeing each other enough? Are we not being honest enough? Or are we not being kind and loving enough? And so which of those 3 things is lacking or got wounded or injured in whatever happened between us? And can we repair it and basically keep building the relationship up? If not, so many of us just think we need to end the relationship. But the other alternative is to simply say, what would it look like if I just lowered the relationship a little bit? For example, maybe she told a secret or told a bunch of other people something. Or maybe he isn't opening up and being vulnerable with you and it hurt you. Or something happens on the vulnerability thing, for example, that you feel like you've lost trust or this relationship is not as meaningful or whatever. You're mad, you're hurt, you're disappointed. I know it. But what if instead of saying they're not a good friend, what if you just said, okay, they're not as high up the triangle as I hoped? So maybe instead of being 2/3 up, we just need to move them down a couple notches. But we can still be golf buddies. We can still hang out in the same neighborhood. We can still show up at work and be kind to each other. We can still be friends who go out for girls' night. We can still hang out in the same group of people. So what if it's just simply okay, maybe we're not up here and I wanted too much, or this person isn't as safe or as trustworthy to me to warrant them being up here, but they can be here. where we still hang out, we still get to know each other, we can still talk. There's plenty of subjects we can still talk about. I may not want to share my deepest, darkest, hardest things. I may not want to process some insecurities with them. I might not want to just show up and really tell them what's really going on and how excited I am about this. But there's 20 million subjects I can still talk about with this person, and I'm willing for them to see this side of me, and I can talk about my vacation, and I can talk about my kids, and for us to actually say we can still know each other, and we can still hang out in social situations together. I just need to lower this relationship in my head and change my expectations to match it, so that I no longer keep expecting this person to be this safe, amazing person that I can share everything with, or where I don't keep expecting this person to call me every day or every week and them not doing it. So we don't need to be mad at them necessarily, or just say we can't be friends because we're not doing all three of these at the level I want to do them. Maybe it's just allowing the friendship to be a 6 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10. We can only be 10 out of 10 with a couple people. And maybe right now this person is not one of those people. But there's so much value for relationships all up and down this triangle. And a really important reminder is that every relationship on this triangle has an investment that we have made. We have put in the time. We have shared our hearts. We have shown up and given to this relationship. So doesn't it make sense to protect the investment, to say, okay, I don't need to just end it and walk away and just keep starting over with every person that hurts me. But maybe I just need to shift my expectations and acknowledge this relationship is not where I wanted it to be, and it's probably here. And so here it is. And this is where I will shift my expectations to match it. And maybe someday we'll move up and maybe we won't. But I will go look for other relationships to move up, and I will keep being appreciative of what this relationship can do for me where it's at. We have been modeled that we just need to have best friends, or basically if you hurt me and disappoint me, then you're not a friend. There's so many levels in between, and you have the choice here that you don't have to walk away from this investment. You don't have to believe that scary little voice in your head that says just because it hurts now, it will always hurt, or just because this person didn't live up to your expectations that they are untrustworthy, or just because they didn't do what you wanted them to do that they've betrayed you. Those are not true statements. Most people that you're mad at or have been hurt by, it is not because they're horrible people that are out there just trying to hurt you. It's simply that your feelings got hurt somewhere along the way. Something happened that you feel wounded by. And I encourage you to go watch some of the previous videos in this series about how you can be more honest, how you can show up and have repairing conversations, and how you could actually ask more for what you want and maybe try to deepen these relationships. But I couldn't end the series without also imploring us to recognize that when the relationship doesn't be everything we want it to be, it doesn't mean that it's nothing. It doesn't mean that it's over. It doesn't mean that we can't still have fun. Look for the places and say, okay, I might not do that, but I can still do this. I might not talk about that, but I can still talk about this. I might not show up in that way, but I can still show up in this way. And so look for the places where you're willing to say, I will appreciate what I do have, what we do share, and I will stop being so mad at what's missing, and recognize that that's okay for right now. And so hard to do, I know. But not everything is our ideal. We can't make everybody perfect. We can't have everybody live up to every single expectation we have of them. And so sometimes we do what we can to say, here's what I hope for, and maybe sometimes we can move the relationship up. But other times when it doesn't work that way, it doesn't mean that it has to be over. It just simply means, okay, I tried, and maybe I'll try again to repair and to build this up again at a future time. But right now, I'm just going to keep it here. Our kids can still play together. We can still be kind and friendly in class when we see each other. I can still be helpful at work. We can still interact well and work on projects together. I can still hang out in the same social group. I don't have to make this a huge deal. I don't have to get everyone on sides and gossip about this whole thing. And so we can still say what is still there that we can appreciate, even if it's not everything we wanted it to be. Blessings on you as you keep doing the very, very, very hard work of building friendships, of being able to be the person that models, that shows up and that says, I'm going to do my best to be healthy and approach people in a healthy and mature way. We can do this. Other people haven't been taught. We are learning now. Let's be the ones who do this, and let's keep hoping that we can be contagious and that we can start creating a culture where we're willing to stop just discarding people and willing to start saying, what can I do to repair and to appreciate what we do have? Blessings on you.